Or like somebody once said, just because I'm smiling doesn't mean something good is going to happen. So you could be meek and gentle, and it still could be a harbinger of bad things to come. But I think that was the meager thinking that I put behind the title.
Hi, this is Tom, and I'm here for Ghost Cult, and I'm very excited to be joined by three quarters of BUN UEL, Javier, Franz, and Eugene. And yeah, I'm looking forward to talking about your latest album, and I'm going to see if I can pronounce this correctly. Mansuetude? Have I got it?
Mansuetude. Mansuetude.
Mansuetude.
Yeah.
So I was looking up the definition of Mansuetude online, and it says gentleness and kindness. And I'm thinking there's probably a little bit of a play on words here or a little bit of a joke, because I understand that with the last album, Killers Like Us, you had a bit of a play on words of whether it's Killers Like Us or Killers Like Us. So what's the thinking behind the album title?
I think that it was to demarcate the fact that the first three were a trilogy, and that if you were expecting more of that, God love you, but realistically speaking, that's not the way we're working, and these are virtues to be esteemed, meekness and gentleness, kindness are things that there was no joke. Like somebody once said about me, I'm very funny, but I'm not really joking. So I like the word. I've always liked the word. I like the fact that nobody could pronounce it, and it seemed to demarcate very clearly the difference between the first three and the fourth record. But this is not to say that the fourth record is in any way kind or gentle. It's just that it marks a place and space where I feel like I'm coming from these days. Or like somebody once said, just because I'm smiling doesn't mean something good is going to happen. So you could be meek and gentle, and it still could be a harbinger of bad things to come. But I think that was the meager thinking that I put behind the title.
And so was that entirely your decision, Eugene, for the title?
I presented to Javi, Franz, and Carlo, and they are fully open and able to shit all over it if they don't like it. Thus far, it hasn't come to that, but I'm always open for reason. So they're open to listening for reason.
So I saw in another interview that Andrea Lombardini said that the band tends to draw inspiration from very different sounding music. Was there anything kind of different or unusual, particularly for the latest record, that you were drawing inspiration from?
I don't know if we really have some inspirations. Me, not. So in general, when we enter and we decided to record, we know we are like naked, completely one, and so that's the instinct, primitive instinct that we have. We have some riffs, we have some kind of music but it's our music. It's not like, okay, let's go, let's have some inspiration by this artist or another artist. It doesn't work like this way. With us. So every time we decided to go and have like maybe 3 days or 4 maximum of a recording, concentrated on it, then we send it all the stuff to Eugene. But there is no all the time taking inspiration from one band of one genre of music. There is a lot of music that we listen since we were born, so it's natural that all the kind of music, all the kind of media's books that we read, movies that we see, that comes into our souls and then became something. And that's it. That's what I think.
Yeah, I think you definitely have a kind of distinct sound, and so I can imagine that there's just sort of a lot of different elements that are percolating through that.
Well, what I like is that we have gotten to that sweet spot that many people hope to get to with their music, which is where we're doing like BUN UEL music, right?
Yeah, that's
like we didn't have a meeting about it. Just automatically doing BUN UEL music that sounds like BUN UEL, but then pushes what BUN UEL sounds like, right? I mean, in this recent record, the 2 singles that we released, what I love is people in the comments trying to puzzle through what Javi's doing on guitar. I've gotten like 2 or 3 questions. I got to go back to him because, of course, I don't know. But it's like, is that a synth? Is that a keyboard? Or is it a guitar? And Javi's like, you got to come see us play. It's a guitar, but come see us play, which I liked,
Yeah, that's it.
And talking about Javi and what you play, I understand that you've made your own instruments in the past. So is that something that you've brought into BUN UEL?
My prepared string instruments become only a small part of BUN UEL at the beginning. The intro, the first track of our first record is made with my chordophone, my string instrument, prepared string instrument. But I decided that there was only an intro. You know, it's like a kind of weird sounds that, and you enter it into the Buñuel's world. That's it. I decided to use only guitars and special effects that I have. Some are hand built. And so this is why I have sometimes some strange sounds that are Buñuel sounds. That's it, and that's it. I have only, you know, I play in different bands and with different kind of music, but I'm the same guitarist all the time. So that's normal, you know. It's not okay. I made this kind of stuff with Buñuel. I made this kind of stuff with Afterhours or the other bands. I'm the same person. I'm the same guitarist. I'm the same musician. But you know, it depends with the persons with I'm playing with. Playing with Franz and playing with Carlo, or before with Andrea Lombardini or Pierpaolo Capoilla, was different than playing with other people. So that's why I transform my attitude on my instruments each time when I play with different people. That's how it sounds in Buñuel.
And so you mentioned other projects. So I know that you do have other projects you're involved with, and you've had various other projects over the years. And I think the same is true for Franz. Had the two of you worked together before, or was Buñuel the first time?
No,
It's
Buñuel
Buñuel.
is the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah. With Buñuel, I use a large drum setup. I also use percussion instrument to create a sound effect. I'm endorsed by Italian cymbal companies and a few artisanal drum brands.
Yes, we started to play together. We know each other from because we played in some mainstream rock bands here in Italy. So we met a lot of times in some shows, and we had the shows, Franz with Il Teatro Delgi Orrori and me with Afterhours. But we never had the opportunity really to make music together before Buñuel. That was the first time, and I was very, very intense and very happy because each time we met before, we played in some gigs with Afterhours and Il Teatro Delgi Orrori, mixing the, you know, the musicians, but never making our new music together. So it was very intense when I met Franz in the studio, because it was a lot of times that every time we met in the past was like magic, you know, but have no the opportunity to make a new music by ourselves. And so Buñuel was the first time, and after that we decided also to make some experimental music together. We have a project that is called Mank, and then we play some experimental stuff, and it's completely different from the attitude we have in Buñuel.
For Xabi and Franz, when you're playing this music, you know, you're not writing the words, Eugene's bringing the words in. Do you like approach this music with any particular kind of emotion? Like when you're playing this music, is it joyful? Do you feel like you're kind of getting rage out? Like, is there any particular feeling that you get in the music that you're creating?
Yes, sure. So if we decided to have a really stronger, harder attitude, we keep structures and sounds from our instruments that goes in that direction. So and we made the same thing if you want to do something more clear, okay, and not so distorted or not so harder or not so faster. So it's clear that it's transport of our emotions in music every time we play.
Do you feel happy when you play?
Yes. It's pure joy.
And Eugene, I know from talking with you, and I know from reading your works that the nature of evil has been a topic of great interest for you. Are you still grappling with this?
Not so much grappling, because I've gotten as close as I think I can get, and I've not gotten any real coherent answers. And so I've come to the later life conclusion that I haven't gotten any real coherent answers, because coherent answers don't exist about something that is, you know, elementally incoherent, right? So, I mean, whether we're talking about, you know, my time with John Wayne Gacy, or my time with Charles Manson, or, you know, Boston Irish Mafia, or, you know, Italian Mafia, or, I mean, the numbers of ne'er-do-wells and, you know, bad men who I've interviewed has been pretty copious. And I've not found anybody who has really has been willing to talk about that which is sublingual. And what I was looking for was somebody who recognized.
Dun, 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 dun. Oh, well, in that case, let me ask the two of you a question while Eugene is reconnecting. So I think Andrea Lombardini came into the band quite recently. Is that right? In the last couple of years?
Yes, Andrea came in the process of recording of Killers Like Us. That's true, Franz. And
the second session.
Yeah, the second session we made it because we made the first session was where only Franz and me. Then the second session was with Andrea Lombardini. Then Killers Like Us came out. Then we made some European tour in summer of 2022. Then we decided to record new stuff between 2022 and 2023. And Andrea put it all his soul inside it. But after the recording and mixing of the stuff, something broken between us. So now we have a change. And the new bassist is Carlo Veneziano. And he's a long friend of Franz, and I know him too. And so this is Eugene is coming.
We played together with One Dimensional Man a lot of years with Carlo. He's a really good friend.
Okay, so he was already kind of like someone that you knew very well. And did you find that sort of made a difference to the dynamics of the band? That, you know, you've got this core of the two of you, but then your other musical partner has been changing?
You know, Tom, in this band, 4 albums, we changed 2 bassists. In the first bassist, Paolo Capovilla recorded and toured with us with the first 2 albums, and Andrea Lombardini recorded the third and the fourth. But now we have a new bassist, so we know that the stones, the really hard stones of this band are me and Franz, because we are very solid and we know really each other. We respect ourselves a lot of. This is very important when you play in a band and when you're made some touring, you know, and you made 20 gigs in 20 days or stuff like that. It's impossible to have problems with it doesn't work. The band doesn't work when there are some problems. And Franz and me were very connected. We're super friends. And so we loved also, as it was in the last years, also change something, and the coming with of Andrea Lombardini changed a lot of things inside BUN UEL's music, and we know, and we love it that something changed. And now we are sure too that with Carlo something is changing at the same time, because we are now preparing to make the live shows in 2025, and we are rehearsing with him, and there's a different sound, different attitude, and we love it this, because we are, you know, like stones, firm at the same place, me and Franz, but something changing, and this is good. I think it's like a circus.
Yeah, I guess it's good to have that combination of the stability, but also the possibility of different things moving around.
Like Melvins, they changed a lot of bassists.
Yeah,
very good point.
And I think that Eugene is coming.
I'm back. I'm sorry. The car got too hot, and the phone went out because we're having a heat wave here. So.
Okay.
Eugene, now that you're back, let me ask you a question directly to you. So, or I mean, this can be for all of you. Your single Fixer has a guest spot from Megan Ostrazitz from Couch Sluts. I'm a big Couch Sluts fan. I'm wondering how that collaboration came about.
Well, to finish off the question that I got interrupted.
Oh yeah, sorry.
I think nature has indicated that the moral stand of evil, is inherently incoherent. So I've not been able to get an answer. I've seen it happen on the faces of people that I know. It's a complete personality change brought about by early life trauma or other reasons. But it's still I've stopped asking because it's enough that I've experienced it. I know what it looks like and I know what it feels like. So and that's kind of like Giacometti when he saw the dying face of his mother on her deathbed. That's kind of what I've been trying to capture ever since I finally identified it as, like Sergio Mendes with the look of love, with that look that I've seen that seems to encapsulate evil. I think I've been trying to kind of work my way around it and at least artify it. And so that's lyrically what I've been trying to do. But Megan, with a name like Couch Slut, I knew that it was drawn from an Oxbow song, which is the Snake and the Stick off of An Evil Heat. So I've had a love affair with them for a long time. I said, well, who are these upstarts? So I sought them out. And then on a back channel, she said, you ran an article by this guy who's been stalking me, just so you have the other side of the story. So we met two ways, both through me seeking them out musically, and two, I paid for it, commissioned an article from some guy who was like gaslit by a woman. And she was like, I was that woman. That guy's a nut. You need to know. And so it bloomed from there to playing shows together. And I just thought she was actually the second person I asked, but what she contributed was exactly what I thought we needed and was pretty perfect for our purpose.
Yeah, they're amazing. They're an amazing band. They've got a lot of variety and versatility to them, and her performances are really intense as well. I feel like, Eugene, that she channels something of the Lydia Lunch energy. Do you feel that at all?
No. She Megan is no. They're different animals. They're different animals.
I had a feeling that one way or another you'd have a strong feeling about that because you are very close to Lydia Lunch.
Yeah, Lydia is sort of, to a certain extent, very much like me. It's more about control, either exercising it or relinquishing it. Megan seems to me to be about exploding it. Right? There's no, and I'll tell you exactly what I mean. She says, you're doing a book tour in New York. I'm going to be there. Do you need me to bring anything? I said, bring me something you think I need. So, she brings me some gummies. They're legal here in Cali and in America. So in some places. So I said, well, how much can I take? And she said, well, this is what I take. You could try that. And I have to tell you, I took what she takes every day and I could not speak. So,
but I think also, Eugene, that says something about you, that you took it and then you realized the impact and you kept taking it.
Yeah, I'm not the kind of guy who stops in the face of warnings to stop. So yes, I've continued taking it, but she's sitting behind some very powerful horses. Lydia as well, but Lydia at this point has them tamed. So it is wonderful to watch Megan play live, and Amy too is one of my favorite guitar players. So
yeah. Okay, well, that's a very good insight. I was completely off the mark, but I'm still happy to get the insight anyway. And I'm curious to know, because I think I see a connection here. I might be wrong about this, because Jabia, you've worked with Zoo, right? Or should I say Zoo? And Eugene, I believe, has worked with them as well. So I wonder if the two of you had a connection from that, or was that just completely independent?
And me too.
Ah, you also worked with them as well. Okay.
With Teatro Delgi Orrori, we have a split together with Zoo. Yeah.
And I know your question, I started to play, I know Massimo, Jacopo, and Luca of Zoo since the beginning of 2000. And I started to play with them. I made a tour with them and Damo Suzuki, Ken's singer, all over Europe in 2004. And I know them since a lot of time, and we recorded some stuff. We played live sometimes, and we know each other. But we had no connection with Eugene at that time. It was completely independent, the things.
Yeah. I never, I'm like a pretty bad example. I'm the last person to know a lot of stuff. And I know Javi and Franz don't know this, but do you know, I just now realized that Mario was Mario from Spotlights.
Who is?
Right? The Mario who mixed our record with
no. Really?
Yes, he played Spotlights, played like every single Oxbow show from this summer tour. I had no idea.
And you never spoke with him about this?
We spoke about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. We never spoke. So Zoo, we did one show together with Zoo, and I didn't know that they knew Javi and Franz and so on, but life's meandering crossroads are crossing all around me. Sometimes I put it together, and then sometimes I don't, I guess.
Well, thinking about the origins of the band, so I've read that it was your former bassist, your first bassist, Pier Paolo Capovilla, who made contact with Eugene. What were the conversations like from your side? Because it makes me think a little. I imagine, I don't know if you know, this is maybe an obscure reference. There's this Rammstein song, I forget which one it is, where the band in the video, I think the singer has died and they're trying to think of which singer they're going to replace it with. So like they're thinking about James Hetfield or they're thinking about Henry Rollins. I'm wondering, was there a time in the beginnings of the band where you were thinking about different singers and then you ended up choosing Eugene, or was it kind of like he was the one guy all the time?
Yeah, that's it, Tom. It was like, okay, as we started to make some music together. And in the days of the recording, in this recording studio, Franz Pierpaolo and me was thinking, okay, let's do it some music together. We have some ideas, blah, blah, blah. But that's okay. But we decided to make songs with someone that will sing it on it. And so at that time, I remember that Pierpaolo told and said, hey, I think that could be super interesting to make something with Eugene Robinson by Oxbow. Do you know him? Yeah, absolutely, blah, blah, blah. And that's, okay, I will write it to him. And there was no another option.
No.
So from the beginning, it was like, okay, Buñuel, it will exist if Eugene will say yes.
Was the first choice.
Yeah.
The first and only one.
And it's funny, Pierpaolo was the first and only member of Buñuel that I ever wanted to kill before I met him. He came to an Oxbow show and he like talked through the entire show. And I thought, I gotta murder this guy. This was in Milan. I'm gonna murder him. And so after the show was over, I start heading toward him like I'm gonna. And he's like turns around, he goes, it's you. And then so he started telling me about plans that he had that he wanted to write me, and I was like, all right, yeah. I forgave him very quickly for talking through the entire show. So
now, Eugene, you're making me think of something else when you tell the story, because another guest that you have on the album is Dwayne Dennison. And I remember, I've forgotten the exact details, but I remember seeing you interviewed, Eugene, where there was some friction with you and Dwayne Dennison. So it made me wonder whether this having him collaborate on the album was a trick to lure him into some kind of trap. But I'm sure that wasn't the case.
No. He was Elide Bradley, who used to be in his band Solar Race, met him backstage at a Phantomas show and said, Eugene from Oxbow. And he goes, oh, that guy. And he started talking, unbidden, started talking shit about me. And I was like, all right. Next time I see that guy, I'm going to slap him in his face. Just if he wants to go back to high school, we could do that. And that was my plan when we played together at Door. But then Kevin Rudamanis from Hepatitis, as well as a bunch of other bands, was in a band with Dwayne at that point, came over and was like, it's Eugene. And so ego won out over my desire to slap him. But I later told him what was going on. He was like, oh, my God. Well, the reason is, every time I read a review of you guys, they said that you were like God's gift to the earth, whereas Phantomas always got bad reviews. I said, okay, I'll tell you what, I'll give you the good reviews if you give us your record sales. And that was not a trade that he was willing to make. So no, we're great friends. We're great friends now. And I was really pushing hard for him to be the guitar player for Gang of Four. And I wrote the liner notes for that big box set they did. So I'd interviewed them all, and I was really pushing hard for him to be the guitar player, and I think he appreciated that. So when it came time to ask him to play on the record, there was not even any negotiation. He said, "Of course." So
nice. No, it's a really, really cool addition to have. I wanted to ask you, actually, this is kind of incidental, but thinking about some of the tracks on the album, one of the tracks that really stood out to me was Leather Bar. I really like the kind of heavy pounding drone, and this might be a total coincidence, but it reminded me a bit of the I don't know if you're familiar with the Jarboe record Maha Kali, when she like kind of went a bit sort of drone metal. I'm wondering if that's just a coincidence, or I don't know if any of you have ever worked with Jarboe. I think maybe not.
I have.
I wasn't sure if you had or not. When did you work with Jarboe?
On An Evil Heat. She sang a song with me on An Evil Heat. I think it was S Bar X. And then she had me do a live show with her that didn't go nearly as well or to her liking, I think. So I haven't spoken to her since the live show. Her instruction to me at the live show was, the guys in Neurosis don't want you to have your penis out on stage. I go, hey, I'm an artist. Tell me what to do. I'm not on stage just to take my penis out. And I did not take my penis out. But I also told her, anything could happen. And she goes, bring it on. I go, anything. And then later she wasn't so happy with the anything that that ended up transpiring. There's a video of it somewhere. So, yeah, we'd worked with her before. But ask those guys about the music. I don't. I know the title came from an idea. Somebody who's well known, whose name you've already mentioned during this interview, was in a leather bar, and somebody spotted him there and was like, "Oh, dude, hey, how are you?" And he goes, "I only come here for the music." So that was like, okay, whatever. That inspired the title at the very least. But musically, yeah, you got to ask those guys.
Well, I think that I think it's true, Franz, that the idea of leather bar coming from you.
Penderecki.
Yes,
From the composition from Penderecki Symphony.
Ah,
yes,
okay.
it
Yeah.
comes from this idea, and Franz was listen this composition by Penderecki, and it was this structure, mathematics structures of repetitions. So we decided to do a quite similar structure with our sounds, with tones of feedback. And so decided with this structure, with this mathematic structure, decided what to do. I was writing some kinds of combinations of mathematics, combination of that. And so when we decided to have, it was a super nice idea that Andrea had. Okay, maybe we can put it some strings inside it, but some classical strings, and put in the cello. And the magic was made by Timo Ellis, the producer of the record, that really opened in the middle of the song like a completely incredible, very dramatic, I think, sonic part with the vocals, the lyrics and vocals of Eugene with this cello, and then arriving and for another time and another time, this big drones with the guitars and bass and drums that are pushing and pushing and punching. And so I think that yes, Leather Bar, the sonic evolution of the song is like what I said, and it comes from an idea that Franz had.
Okay. We aim to create a truly intimidating track.
I think quite a lot of your music's quite intimidating. Like you have a very
It's the opposite of Mansuetude, intimidating. No?
Yeah. In general, I think you have like a very overwhelming sound quite a lot of the time, like particularly I think with the drums and with the bass. And I don't know, because I haven't had the chance to see you live yet, I don't know how much this is to do with production and how much this is like you've managed to get this sound, because there's a heaviness to it. Like it's not metal, but there's something about it that, yeah, I don't quite know how to describe it. Like it's very, very heavy, and it's a heaviness that I can't quite put my finger on. I don't know where it comes from. I don't know if this is something that you've had in your playing before, or if this is particularly a BUN UEL thing.
Well, I think that it's a particular thing that BUN UEL has, and it comes from the idea that bass and guitars are not really bass and guitars. So at the same time, I have some, with my guitar, some tones that are really deep, really bass tones, and sometimes very, very, very high tones, and it's similar with the bass. And so that's why we have this kind of heavy sound. But I think that the most interesting thing that BUN UEL has is like a deconstruction of tradition of the sound. That's what I like it, because yes, we have heavy music, distortion guitars, distorted guitars and basses, but at the same time there is a little bit deconstruction of this kind of typical heaviness that comes from hard rock and then heavy metal or hardcore punk music and blah blah blah. And that's what we like it. And in songs like the more experimental songs we have it in Mansuetude, I think that you can really enter into the construction of sound that BUN UEL wanted to do it. And also at the same time, when you use it to make songs, with the normal structures, with verses and choruses and blah, 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 and riffs, there is something every time that is quite completely different from this kind of music. And so that's what we like it to do. And it comes natural. It's not thinking about it, a lot of it. And so I think it's a process that we enter on it record after record.
And talking about your sound and talking about live, so the album's going to be coming out on the 25th of October, and it's going to be out on the great Skin Graft Records, as well as Overdrive Records, which I think I am familiar with, and they're based in Milan, right?
Yeah.
And so thinking about the release of the album and the promotion, what have you got lined up in terms of shows that you're going to be playing for around that time?
We'll be playing.
Well, that's a good question. We've got Eric Jarvis at Tone Deaf Booking had booked a tour with us with Whores, but of course Whores has run into a bit of bad news with the cancer diagnosis for their drummer. So we're reconstituting that and going to launch in February, March. And the standing order is any place, anywhere, anytime. We are willing to play as often as he can get us to play, as well as striking out to places like Australia. And I've also pushed him on South America. So, because Javi's got language skills and I can fake it. I can fake it. So why not play Chile or Peru, places that, they play us on the radio and they've asked already. So it's a possibility.
And in general, for people wanting to keep up to date with what's going on with the band, like what's the best place for them to go to for that, to get all the news and see what shows are coming up?
I think BUN UEL's page on Instagram or Facebook. That's the two things we had.
Bandcamp. Bandcamp as well.
Bandcamp too. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but hey, listen, Tom, I got to go get my kid. All right.
I was winding it up for this very moment. I wanted to time it perfectly. Eugene, it's been great to see you again. Jabi and Franz, fantastic to meet you. All the best, guys.
Thank you, Tom.
All right.
Thank you.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye, ciao, ciao.
Bye.